Okay guys, buckle up. You know how in the ones before we have talked about a lot of psychopaths? Well, this case is also something like that. I will give you the perfect setup for this madness that we're gonna just talk about. Because today we're talking about the lady Eom. And this woman, well, she didn't just break the rules. She tore them up, set them on fire, and danced on the ashes. Like, how did she get away with this for a whole 5 years? That's what makes me crazy. And honestly, probably longer. Welcome back to another Beauty and Crime Sunday with me, in which I do my skincare while I talk about the chilling cases I found this week. And this week, yeah, we're talking about other psychopath. But this case, a woman psychopath, which those ones are not that common. They're usually weird to find. So this case goes back to the early 2000s. So we're talking about nearly 20 years ago, 20 to 25 years ago. And she was arrested around 2010. But the damage, boof, legendary, the worst damage you can think of. So let's talk about who is Lady She was born in 1976 into a well-off family, not like the Crazy Rich Asians movie, but comfortable, let's say. No financial struggle, no tragic backstory really, and people said she was tall, slim, and had what they called a clean face, whatever that really means. I'm assuming it means kind of like, oh, she has natural beauty or something like that. But still, clean beauty, it's a little weird to say, I think. Now here it's where it gets a little weird. No one actually knows what she looks like. Her face was never released to the public, like, never. And it's given real life NPC energy. But people who knew her said she looked like Park Jin-hee. Very elegant, soft, kind looking, which makes what she did a little even more disturbing. Because this sweet looking woman, she had a very dark side. Like pitch black dark. Also, she had a fascination with money. Let's call it obsession with money. Not in the way of, oh, I want to save up to buy a house. No. I'm talking like shopping maniac, always carrying cash, spending like there is no tomorrow, and I feel like we know people like that. And she also loved luxury, obviously. And spoiler alert, that obsession that she had, it's what fueled her to make this into this whole crime spree. So she ends up getting married in her early 20s, has a daughter, but then boom, tragedy. Her daughter dies under super sketchy circumstances. Apparently she fell from somewhere high while playing, but no one really knows from where. A balcony? Playground? It was all very vague. No one really talks about it. And just like that, the story starts taking a shift. Next thing we know, she's done with her husband. She slips some sleeping pills into his drink. And yep, this woman was making deadly cocktails. And listen, that's just the opening scene of this horrific crime. We haven't even got into the twist of this drama thriller, fake identities, the insurance fraud, or yeah, more mysterious deaths. If you're already clutching your pearls, just wait. So Lady knocks out her husband, totally out of it with the sleeping pills. And that's when things get very dark. While he was completely unconscious, wait for it, he took a bobby pin, like just a pin, and stabbed it in his eye. Yeah, you heard that right. And this poor guy, he went permanently blind. And yet somehow people still believe that she was an angel. How? Let's find out. Friends, family, even his side of the family thought that Lady just seemed like a sweetheart, the most caring wife. Like she was the one bringing soup and fluffing pillows to the poor husband that just went magically blind. Meanwhile, she's going horror movie style behind closed doors. But it didn't stop there, because about a year after blinding him completely, she poured boiling hospital disinfectant, basically alcohol, on his face. You know, just in case the blindness was not enough for this man. He lived through that too. This man was surviving the unimaginable. But a few months later, she just decided to, he's taking too much time. I'm just gonna end it. She stabbed him with a kitchen knife. He actually survived the first time, which honestly, this man had 9 lives. But then a bit later, she stabbed him again. This time he was rushed to the hospital. But after massive organ failure, he passed away and he never got to tell his side of the story. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How did this guy not realize his wife was literally trying to kill him? But remember, he was blind. He couldn't see what was going on, and she probably spun a million excuses to this guy. Oh no, honey, you rolled off the bed and hit your eye. Like, we don't know what she really told this guy, but clearly she convinced everyone so. She was probably a little sociopathic also. So to cover her tracks, Lady told everyone that her husband had serious mental health issues, that he was constantly self-harming, and somehow people believed her enough to let her cash out his death. That's right, because she walked with 200,000 in insurance money. First husband gone, daughter also gone. And now with that cash in her hands, guess what she did next? She found a new man. Yep, just a few months later, she decided to get a new man. She met him at a club. Real whirlwind romance, I guess. They fell in love immediately, and not long after, she got pregnant. And here's the kicker. No one saw a thing coming. Now, if you think that Lady was done with her horror vibes, no. The second husband was about to walk into the same nightmare the first one went in, but she had a baby on the way this time. Not even a year into her second marriage now. 9 months to be exact, she pulled the same move. Sleeping pills into his drink, knocked him out cold, and then when he was passed out, the same thing. Bobby pins into his eyes, complete blindness for him. And let's talk about what really happens if you stab someone in the eye with a bobby pin. Well, the eye starts swelling, right? And they swell so much that you have to close your eyes completely. So you can't open them and you basically go blind. And you have no idea what's happening around you. So yeah, second husband now blind. And still no one caught on, which is weird because how can the first husband go blind and the second one go blind also? Not sketchy at all? Okay. His family was also like, oh my god, Lady is such a wonderful wife. Brings him soup. She was at the hospital playing nurse, wiping his mouth, adjusting his blankets. Full act. I'm talking Oscar-worthy performance. And I mean, they might be saying like, oh, she's the best wife possible, but if you marry someone and that happens to your husband, that should be the minimum. But honestly, if there was a category for best actress in a real-life crime drama, would have swept the awards. Her second husband family was fully convinced she was an angel sent from heavens. But the injuries did not stop on the eye, obviously. He kept showing random injuries on his body, and nobody could technically explain what was wrong with them. Broken ribs, bruises, strange symptoms, and through it all, she stayed right by his side. Then, plot twist. One day, the husband's conditions seemed to improve a little bit. Doctors say he's doing well, family visits him, talks with him, he's awake, alert, even making jokes. They're like, he's getting discharged soon. That's what they thought. But after midnight, he dies. Just like that, gone. The family was obviously shocked. How does someone go from totally fine to death in a few hours? And once again, guess who is there with him last? Oh yeah, his wife. At this point, she was still pregnant with a child, so the husband's family, heartbroken, told her she didn't have to go through with the pregnancy. They were like, you have been through enough. We will understand if you don't want to go through with the pregnancy. But Lady she gave his heartfelt speech. No, I want this baby. I want to carry his legacy. We're still connected by his soul. And that speech touched the family deeply. They trusted her more after that. But right after she claimed the insurance money, obviously, she cut all contact with the ex-husband's family and then basically vanished. Blocked numbers disappear from their lives, and then the truth started leaking out. Oh my god, finally. Turns out she lied about everything to the husband's family. She told the family that she went to college for early childhood education, and that was obviously a lie. Said she was also training to be a teacher. A lie. Said that her mom was waiting on $1 million trust fund, and all of it, well, fiction. And while her second husband was dying in the hospital, she couldn't wait, so she had to go to make the necessary paperwork, filing all the marriage paperwork, like signing documents over him also, so setting herself up for legacy cash once he was gone. This wasn't really a crime of passion, this was premeditated, so... And by now, there is a pattern, so... A woman marrying, manipulating all the men, killing them, and then taking all the insurance for her. After she ended up killing the second husband, yep, she ended up having an insurance payout of $100,000. And what did she do with it? Well, nothing good. Clothes, booze, partying, designer stuff. Living up like she won the lottery. But just like the first 2 times, well, it didn't end up there because her bank account ended up going to zero again, so she needed money again, hunting for her next prey. And this time you won't believe it, her own mother. Yes, and not just her mom, the younger brother also. One day she shows up at her mom's house and tells her, oh mom, I made a very healthy thing for you. Yeah, you can guess what it was, right? Sleeping pills on top of it. And once they were both unconscious, same twisted method. Poked their eyes, both of them, not suspicious to go blind at the same time. Now her brother was rushed to the hospital, and here is where it gets absolutely sick. While he was recovering in the hospital, Lady snuck into his room and tried to inject poison into his IV to kill him. In the middle of the hospital, with nurses around, like a scene out of a crime movie. Luckily, it didn't work, but she wasn't done because she still got no money. She somehow convinced her mom and family to sell their apartment. Said it was to pay off debts, to secure the future, whatever she said, honestly. And the money gone. Clothing, booze again, designer stuff. The same thing repeating all the time. That's when the family started asking questions. Where's the money? What did you do with the apartment fund? And instead of facing it and saying the truth, she came up with another great idea. Burn it all down. She went to the apartments where her older brothers and younger brothers were living in and set it on fire. Yeah, flames everywhere. Both brothers were severely burned, but once again they survived. And at this point the family was finally catching on. So where does Lady go next? She shows up at her old babysitter's house. She tells her, please let me stay for a month. I'm a single mother, I have nowhere to go. This woman, out of kindness, she says, yes. But after 1 month has passed on the day that she's supposed to leave the house, well, she ends up setting the house on fire again. The babysitter's husband, at this point I really don't know what she's planning to do. Why burn all the houses? But the babysitter's husband dies in that fire, but the babysitter survives. Her daughter that was also at home, she suffers severe burns. Imagine that you let someone into your house because you feel bad for them, and they repay you by burning your house down. This woman is next level. By now, Lady has racked up $600,000 600,000 in insurance money. And this is the craziest thing. Back then in Korea, the second highest payout after death insurance was going blind. So yeah, she knew the whole time what she was doing. She had this all planned out, step by step. But here's the thing, you can only lie, burn, and blind so many people before someone catches on to the story. But again, she ended up with no money, and this time she still has this son, by the way, of the second husband, the baby that she wanted to carry. And tragically, that boy was diagnosed with Kawasaki disease, which affects blood vessels and causes skin inflammation. So she was going in and out of the hospital constantly. But here's the twist. She had no money left. She burned through every last cent. So what does Lady do next? Well, she meets another woman at the hospital, just another patient or maybe a visitor. Lady steals her credit card, starts using it to pay for her son's hospital bills, but also for clothes and shopping, like always. Because obviously, when your son is sick, you also need to go and treat yourself and go on a shopping spree. Duh. And yeah, she obviously gets caught because it's a credit card. This was sloppy, and unfortunately around this time her son ends up passing away. This part is a little blurry because some people say it was because of the Kawasaki disease. Others suspect that Lady had something to do with it, but the truth is no one really knows. She was never charged for it, and what is known is that the disease is highly treatable with proper care because it's a skin disease, so I don't understand why he died. So now she goes back to the woman whose credit card she stole, tells her the sub story. My son passed away. I have nothing. Please help me. And somehow the woman feels sorry for her again. She invites Lady to stay over at her house. But what does Lady do again? I'm starting to get bored of this repetition. Sleeping pills again. And when this woman wakes up, she's nearly blind, not blind completely, stabbed in the eye with the same bobby pin. But Lady is not done. She's scared that this woman might report her. So her next step, just burn the hospital down. That's right. She lit the actual hospital down, but this time, because she's not very smart, she's not invisible anymore. There is CCTV footage caught of her. Arson, attempted murder, fraud. It all came crashing down on her. Police finally arrest Lady and when they interrogate her, they ask, "Why did you do it?" And her answer, "I wanted to buy drugs." Drugs? Out of nowhere? So the police test her to check, but guess what? No drugs, no trace on her blood, another lie. Then she started switching the story. I flushed the drugs out with a special medicine. Also a lie. That just cannot happen. At her trial, she tries to plead Jindanmyeon. That's basically the Korean equivalent of the insanity defense. If it worked, she got a reduced sentence. But the court said, no. She knew exactly what she was doing. Cold, calculated, and evil. There is no way you were insane for so many deaths. No. And just like that, Lady was sentenced to life in prison, fucking finally. In total, she had claimed over 600,000 for death, arson, and insurance fraud, and she manipulated everyone around her, everyone. Her husband, her family, her babysitter, and even strangers at the hospital. Lady is one of South Korea's most infamous Black Widow cases, and honestly one of the most disturbing true crime cases in South Korea. If this case shocked you like it did to me, like always, drop a comment below. Would you have fallen for her act? What's your take? Evil mastermind or something even worse? And this is, well, the end of the story of Lady one of the most twisted, manipulative, and devastating cases that happened in South Korea. When the family of the second husband came to see her in court, they weren't just angry. They were furious, obviously, broken, and not just because of what she did, but because of what she didn't do. She gave excuses. She said the death of her children made her spiral out of control. She tried to rationalize every single evil act that she did, like she was the victim. But the truth is, that wasn't really grief. This wasn't mourning. This was murder for profit. Calculated, cool, repeated and again. Psychologists later said that Lady showed strong signs of borderline personality disorder mixed with several traits of psychopathy, and here's what that looks like. Psychopathy traits Lady showed. We have charm and lies, manipulation. She used to fake kindness to earn trust and destroyed people behind the scenes with that. Zero remorse, always blaming others, never owning her actions. We have masking. Her face never matched what was really going on inside, and what she showed wasn't really real. So, we have the three charms of psychopaths. So think about that. You're sitting across from someone who's smiling, and you never know what they're planning to do in their heads. You will never know. In the end, the most haunting truth is that Lady did not really marry for love. She didn't have children to build a family. She did it all to kill them for money. And that's why this case stays with people, because we're not just talking about murder, we're talking about someone who engineered life to get the money. There has been a lot of debate. Can people like Lady be helped? Can therapy fix a psychopath? Or are some people just born like this and there is no way of fixing them? So I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you think people like Lady deserve treatment, or are they simply evil and they cannot be fixed? This case shocked me a lot because also it's a woman psychopath, so if I'm guessing it shocked you too. So if you stayed with me for the whole video, thank you, you're the real ones, and please subscribe and share if you liked it. Also say your theories in the comments. I'll be back next week with another crazy story, maybe not as dark, but still mind-blowing probably. Until then, take care of yourselves. Remember, not every smile is innocent, and also remember, do your skincare, and if you don't end up like a glazed donut at the end of it, you're not doing it right. Bye bye.